welcome to round 4 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of February 24th. I'm Catherine Haleko, and I'm here with Terry Morrow.
Hello.
And Nicole Erdix.
Hi there.
As moms of teens and young adults, we've survived those little kid days, yet we're still rethinking the decisions we've made all through our kids' lives and worrying about what's going on right now. Today's Thursday, which means it's time to give in to our obsessing about parenting details, big and small, like those 3 little words, I love you.
Ah, yes. How nice it is to hear those.
Yeah. And we wanted to talk today about how often do you say those magic words to your kids and whether you get a satisfactory response. Terry, tell us your tale.
Yeah, let me tell you my tale of woe. I think I've mentioned here that when I was a kid, there were lots of conventions about leaving the house and what you say to your family members before you do so, based partially on the fact that my father's father died suddenly and he hadn't properly said goodbye to him when he left that day. And so he always felt bad about it. So when I was growing up, you said goodbye. If you were going out to get the newspaper, you said goodbye to everybody and told them that you loved them. This was the convention when I was growing up. You always, bye, I love you. And so I have carried this into my family. And every time somebody leaves the house, I say goodbye, I love you. I say I love you other times of the day. I'm just, I'd like to get that out there. However, I have kids who, due to complicated life experiences and due to developmental disabilities and all sorts of very good reasons, are not so much with the replying, I love you, Mom, back. For various reasons. All good. Still, I put it out there all the time. I get it back, not so much. Mm-hmm. My husband, maybe 50% of the time. Probably because I say it too much, and he's just like, yeah.
I know.
So sometimes he says it back, sometimes he doesn't. My son pretty much just ignores it. My daughter will say something back like, okay, which is not a satisfactory response to I love you. Like,
it's
all right,
like a
I
Han
accept your
Solo
love.
situation.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah, so, it's probably partially my problem in that I say it too much. But it's a good thing to say,
right?
You can't say that too much, right? That's a good thing. So possibly I have to disconnect my saying it from my need to hear it. And yet I would like to hear it. I would really like to hear it more. I've issued a challenge to my family. If you don't want to say those words back, you have to think of something nice to say, me too would be fine. Or just, just say it.
Right, that would be easier.
Have I not taught my children that it's okay to lie if it makes somebody feel good? That's a basic rule of family life I would have liked to have instilled, and yet clearly I have been remiss. So that's why I wanted to check in with you guys. Do you say those words a lot? Am I excessive? Is it okay to say it constantly? Should one expect to then hear it constantly in return? And if not, why not? And I have no fear. My kids are totally bonded to me. There's no attachment problems. It's just, it's just a weighty language and abstraction thing that they just don't connect with those words. So, and I don't know. It's like not something that eats me up inside or anything. It's just every time I say it and I don't get the response back that I would sort of like, I go, well, that's disappointing.
Well,
so really? You're not going to answer that back? Really?
It's like that whole love language thing, right? Like they are indicating it in other ways, but
they are.
If that's not your love language, then that doesn't feel like
my love language is specifically saying the word
actual
love.
Language with words said out loud.
It's very simple. It's not complicated at all. But yes, I should learn about those love languages. I keep hearing about them and thinking, well, that sounds silly, but maybe there's something to it.
Yeah. I think we're at a pretty good balance here. Although sometimes I feel like, especially my daughter will say it more than I do, and then I feel bad.
Aw.
It's like, of course, like, I didn't mean to not.
Tell her to call me anytime she needs to hear it.
Auntie Terry would love to hear from you. Yeah.
I feel her pain.
Because when she says it first, then I'm like, yes. I feel like I should have said it first.
And then is your second thought, what do you want?
No, because she's, she's the type of like,
she's genuine.
Saying it when she's leaving or when she's going to bed or that kind of thing. So,
yes.
Yeah. It was, because for me, it wasn't a big, in my house growing up. Like, obviously my parents loved me. They still do. I'm very confident of that, but it just wasn't one of those like you had it where you said it all the time. So.
Yeah, it was drilled. People would get called back into the house if they didn't follow the protocol.
We have a similar tradition as well, or process as well. There has to be hugs, and I love you. Even if it's just at least I love you. If it's for a couple minutes, but my son is so good about that. He's very good about initiating it. If we don't, if he's going somewhere, because he's on his own schedule, right? So he'll just come up to us and say, "Okay, bye, I love you," give us a hug or whatever. My daughter, we would probably say it more than what she does. But if we say it, I love you, then she'll say, I love you back. But it's not something that she goes out of her way. I know she does.
I would be happy just to get it back, honestly.
Yeah. They're pretty good in that sense. My husband, on the other hand, he could work on it. It's definitely, can we include husband in this conversation?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, mine sometimes does, sometimes doesn't. There doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason other than just that I think sometimes he thinks I overdo it. So it's like I will respond to 65% of your I love yous.
I am counting.
No, definitely it's not, he's not a very verbal person. So sometimes it's like, hey, make sure to say this to me.
It doesn't seem like a lot to ask. You don't even have to mean it. I just want to hear the words.
So I think we need to include spouses or partners in this conversation.
Yeah, definitely. Does your spouse respond appropriately, Catherine?
Yeah, I would say.
Okay. That's good. But perhaps you don't push it to the degree that I do. And I know sometimes when I call him at work and I say it and he doesn't, I think, well, maybe there's people around him and he's embarrassed. Wouldn't want anybody thinking I love my wife. I better not say anything.
Can't have that.
That would be embarrassing. But I'm sure it's just that he's like, yeah, whatever. So, again, I have no concerns for the actual state of love. It's just the statements of love that could use a little goosing. So, I got to look into that love languages thing. Is one of the love languages needing to be constantly verbally reassured?
Maybe.
The people in your life value you? Whatever that is, that's mine. It's like, I don't care if you do nice things. I want the words. I'm a word person. I am a writer. I am an editor.
Yes.
Give me the words.
Words. Say it constantly to me, and then you can do whatever the heck you want. Oh, well, that's probably not healthy. This has been your weekly parenting roundabout psychoanalysis. Terry's now going to go lie down in a dark room and say, I love me. And I'll say, okay.
Well, even though they might not be saying it, I'm hoping that our listeners love us.
Yes. We can use a little love, listeners, if you want to tell us how much you love us on iTunes with a rating, that'd be cool.
Exactly. You don't need to say I love you. You can just give us a 5-star rating.
Absolutely.
And we'll be fine with that.
Or a little heart on Twitter when you see my 500 tweets go by.
And that's it for today's round 4. Tune in tomorrow when we'll share our roundabout roundup of things we've been using or enjoying lately that we think deserve a shout out. Find all our episodes at parentingroundabout.com and talk back in the comments there, on our Facebook page, or on Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat.